Welcome to Getting Real with Real Estate with Danielle Kempf and Jim Kempf, St. Louis's favorite father-daughter real estate team. Your source of real estate information in the greater St. Louis area.
All right, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, hello.
It's a rainy April day. That's why we're inside today.
We're always inside. We're always in the podcast booth for our podcast. Well, not every podcast.
Yeah, sometimes we do them elsewhere.
We're in the big room.
Yeah.
Today we're in the small room.
Right on.
Alrighty.
All right, well, it's a podcast, so before we even talk about what we're talking about, you got a joke?
I do have a joke, and it tied into
Start
what
us
you
off?
just said.
Oh,
Like
really?
you said, it's a rainy April day.
Okay.
So our question is, how do thunderstorms invest their money?
Gosh, I don't know.
In a rainy day fund.
Those are cheesy.
They are, but it was a cute one.
Yeah?
And you know what else?
What's that?
Is kind of relevant to this?
What?
Spring selling season. April
It
showers
is.
bring May flowers.
It's kinda-
and spring selling season.
Yeah, it's kind of in full bloom.
swing.
Full swing.
Yeah.
Like when the flowers pop up, the for sale signs pop up. Sort of, but not
Yeah.
really.
Well,
The for sale signs haven't necessarily popped up as fast as the buyers have popped up.
That's true.
In my opinion, I think.
yeah. All the
Right.
buyers came out of hibernation.
Seems like
Snow melted off the ground.
Seems kind of like it, yeah. So.
So that's our topic for today. It's kind of what's happening in the
just what's
market
going
right
on.
now.
Yeah. It's funny. I was talking to John Frederick the other day, and he was asking me about how the market. You know, he's hearing how slow it's getting, and how it's almost a balanced market and all that stuff again. I'm like, not here.
No.
He's hearing national stuff, I think,
Yeah.
because there are areas like that. But what we're seeing, well, talk about what you're seeing, like with some clients you're working with trying to find a house in the city.
Yeah, so I got some buyers right now, and can I say it's feeling almost kind of like COVID again?
Yeah,
It
kind of.
is. I mean, it's multiple offers, way over list price, waiving everything. It's just kind of getting crazy again, which is sometimes fun. Some crazy's fun. Sometimes you're like,
Depends on what side of crazy you're
yeah,
on.
it depends on what side of the crazy you're on. For our sellers, they love it. For our buyers,
Right. It's hard.
good luck, guys.
Yeah, so, like we just had a listing, too, that went kind of a little bit crazy.
It went. I'd
It
call
was
it crazy.
really good. 7, right-ish offers. 7, I
Yeah.
think we were at. I won lunch on that one, by the way, if anybody's keeping score. But, yeah, so in that particular area that we were, can I say where it was? Or it was in kind of West County. But there's still a shortage of inventory, right? Is what I think the message is.
Yeah.
The old motto or the old saying is when the flowers start popping up, so do the for sale signs. But we haven't really seen the for sale signs popping up very fast, right? Have you? I don't see that.
It's a hard question because they're popping up, but it's just
Pop and then they
not as many, and then
they're
it's like a
gone.
week, and then they're gone,
Yeah.
and then a new one pops up, and then it's gone. And
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
mean, they're
yeah,
popping up, but they're not lasting long.
Well, when we looked at the SLAR stats for February when those came out, and I realize that's a month or so behind, but
It's okay.
the inventory level was just a hair over 2,000, I think it was, in
Yeah.
St. Louis City and County. And that was down 10%, I think, right around 10%
Right
from
around
the
there.
previous year. So, I mean, that in alone kind of tells me that the inventory is still a concern.
Low, yeah.
Still low. Rates have come down a little bit. I saw some just this morning close to like 6.5, 6.6, which is pretty
Okay,
good.
Yeah.
They were hovering a little bit closer,
6.7.
6.75, 6.8,
Yeah.
just even a couple weeks ago. And we won't get into exactly why that is, but there's a lot of uncertainty out there in the market, right? Stocks have gotten hammered recently, so it's kind of made the mortgages or the bonds a little better and made the rates come down a little bit, which is good for our buyers. But we're still going back to that thing of
That thing.
not a lot of inventory. That thing.
Oh, that thing.
Yeah. So it's good. It's a competitive spring, is what I'm
It
seeing.
is. I would say so.
I'll throw some. You guys all know I like statistics, right?
The old engineer.
Yeah. We die hard. But like, just picking a few areas, right? The 63128 zip code here in South County. That's like the Melville area. A 0.7 month supply of inventory based on the previous 30 days of sales, right? So that's 0.7. I looked at St. Peter's, 63376 zip code.
Okay.
0.4 month supply of homes. South City, kind of the 63109, which is kind of Lindenwood Park, St. Louis Hills, kind of that general area. 0.8 month supply. So less than a month's supply of homes in some pretty popular areas, right?
Yeah.
So that's, for what that, I think we've talked about this before, but that just means, right, if you put a house on the market in like St. Peter's, about less than 2 weeks, that thing's going to be sold. And that's kind of, that is what we're
That's what we're seeing.
Seems like what we're seeing. So like probably more buyers out there looking than we can, got houses for them to sell.
Yeah.
Same problem we've had for the last 5 or 6 years, but it to me seems like it's
picking back up. Last
just like
April, so April 2024, it seemed to slow down a little bit. I think there was a handful of reasons with that.
well, toward the end of summer for sure. You were talking about August earlier, right?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
You said April.
Oh, I meant, okay. I meant
so
August.
more like August. Yeah, August. Yeah, 100%. Right. Toward the end of the summer.
Yeah. People were already in their school districts. School had started. People were anticipating the election.
Yeah.
In the real estate world, we had new contract changes.
Yeah,
there was just a lot kind of within
stuff.
a couple months. And so we kind of saw the market balance out again to a buyer-seller market. What seemed to me a more balanced market.
It was heading that way, I would say. I don't know if it ever got there, but to your point, I agree with that. It was a little easier to get a deal done for a buyer.
Exactly.
And like on some of the listings we had back then, they didn't seem to go quite as fast.
No, but we did still have a couple over the winter that went the first weekend.
Yeah. But as soon as
the grass started greening up.
As soon as the snow melted.
Yeah,
snowmageddon a couple times here. But as soon as that did,
everybody
agree
just came out of hibernation.
A lot of buyers.
Which, I mean, I can't blame anybody.
Yeah, a lot of buyers out there that are looking, and it's just challenging.
We're having to get creative on offers.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'll just talk about a little bit about a listing we just sold recently or put under contract. And almost every contingency in not every contract, but almost every contingency was either waived or some kind of a guarantee placed on them to where a buyer would pay money, like just for example on an appraisal, maybe pay more than the house was worth, things of that nature that people are doing, which we cringe when we're talking with our buyers about doing that stuff, but
like waiving inspections too, that makes me nervous.
It's a hard balance.
It's a house by house situation and a buyer by buyer situation too, so not everybody can do it.
Right, I agree.
The listing we had was just also a very clean house, so I wouldn't recommend that on every house.
Right. I think I've said this a couple times this past weekend. If there was a house that I would buy without ever doing an inspection, the house we sold was one of them. Because it was clean as a whistle, but
it was
it was very, very well maintained. But still, that's a lot of extra risk, So what we try to talk to our buyers about is managing that risk, and how to do it in a smart way, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a tough balancing act sometimes.
Yeah, and it's a person by person, house by house situation too.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. So anyway, I guess probably kind of a short podcast today, but we just kind of wanted to, give our 2 cents as far as what we're seeing in the market. Man, if you got a house you want to sell right now is the time to do it. You know what I mean? But
and if you're looking to buy, it's still also the time to do that. It's crazy, it's hard. But we've talked about it many times on the podcast before, just that equity you start getting from day one in ownership. There's no better time to buy than now. Yeah,
we don't mean to scare people about the market, because you're right. Getting in, you get in early and let the value because values are still going up. You hear it nationally that there are places around the country values have dropped off a little bit, but not here.
Not St. Louis.
And they're not gonna for a while, guys. So buy that house, take advantage of time and compounding interest, if you will, because your house is going to go up in value every year, like pretty much clockwork, I think. I don't see them going backwards, but so really it is a very smart move. What the net worth, right, of a buyer, a homeowner is 10 times what a renter is. So take advantage of that. Again, interest rates have improved now, so it's really a good time. And for some of you folks out there maybe who bought a house, say last April through maybe September, your interest rate might be too high right now.
It might be.
So there may be an opportunity for some of you folks out there to save some money if you bought within, let's just call it the last year or so. And if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out to us, because we could put you in contact with somebody that might be able to save you some money in terms of a loan officer, maybe at a refi, to help you there, because that put more money in your pocket, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So keep that bank account full.
Yeah.
What else?
I don't know.
I think it's
Just a short little recap.
Springtime. It's good time. Get out, enjoy the weather, buy some houses. We'll help you buy and sell them.
Exactly.
Right. I guess that's about it.
That's it.
We'll talk to you guys later.
Signing off. See you later.
Thanks for tuning in.
You've been listening to Getting Real with Real Estate with the Kemp team. Have questions about real estate or something you'd like to discuss? Contact the Kemp team at 314-336-1926 or visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/the Kemp team. Don't want to miss any episodes? Follow us on your favorite podcast app or YouTube. The Kemp team. Real, honest real estate.